So, good afternoon, sir. For Chapter 6, this includes the objective and elements of development and quality plan. So, first, the objective of development plan and quality planning. So, it has a process that has several objectives, and each is meant to prepare enough foundation for the following. So, first is the scheduling development activities, then recruiting team members and allocating development resources, resolving development risk, implementing required SQA activities, and lastly, to provide management with data needed for project control. Next is the element of the development plan. So based on the proposal materials, the project development plan is prepared to fulfill the above objective. The following elements, so each is applicable to different project components. So project products. The development plan includes to design documents specifying dates of completion, software products that includes completion date and installation site, training tasks that includes dates, participants, and the sites, the project interfaces. Next is the project interfaces. So the development plan includes interfaces with an existing software uh, interface with other software or hardware development teams that are working in the same project, and lastly, the interfaces with existing hardware. The third element is the project methodology and development tools to be applied at each phase of the project. The fourth element is the software development standards and procedures. So a list should be prepared of the software development standards and procedures to be applied in the project. Fifth element is the mapping of the development process. So it involves providing detailed description of each project phases, activities, descriptions, that includes the estimate of the activity duration, description of each activities, and lastly the type of professional resources required. The sixth element is the project milestone. So for each milestone, its completion time and project components or the document and code are to be defined. Seventh element is the project staff organization. So it comprises with the organizational structure that includes project team and their tasks, the professional requirement, which has experience and the certifications, the number of team members according to each activities, and also the names of team, le- le- team leader, team leader, and also the names of the team leader and the team members. Next is the eighth one is the development facilities. So it requires development facilities in the period required for its use. Ninth element is the development risk. So it's the technology gap, or defined as the lack of sufficient professional knowledge, and also the staff shortage, the interdependence of organizational or supplier of specialized hardware. Next is the control method. So, in order to control project implementation, the project manager apply a series of monitoring practices when preparing progress reports and coordinating meetings. Next would be the project cost estimation. So, based on the proposal cost estimates, it should be followed by continuous relevance review. Then the elements of the quality plan. So all or some of the following items, depending on the project, comprise these elements. First is the quality goals. It refers to the developed software system quality requirements. Example, a software system to serve the help desk operations of an electrical appliance manufacturer is to be developed. So the help desk system, or the HDS, is intended to operate for 100 hours per. The second element of quality plan is the plan reviewed activities. So the plan should provide a complete listing of all planned review activities with the following determined for each activity. So first is the scope, then the type of the review activity, then the schedule of review activity, and lastly the one who is responsible for carrying out the review activity. Third is the planned software test. So this includes the unit, integration or the complete system to be tested, then the type of testing activities, the planned test schedule, the specific procedure to be applied, and also the one who is responsible for carrying out the test. The fourth element is the planned acceptance test for externally developed software. The next is the configuration management. So it includes two configuration, which is the management tools and the management procedures. So for chapter 7, this chapter includes software development models, different aspects of verification, validation, and qualification for quality assurance activities, and also the model for SQA defect removal, effectiveness, and cost. So the various software development models are SDLC, the prototyping model, the spiral model, and the object-oriented model. So let's first discuss the SDLC. So SDLC is a classic model which is still applicable today. It provides the most comprehensive description of the process available. So this model displays the major building blocks for the entire development process, and it is sometimes described as a linear sequence. So um, one great example of SDLC is the waterfall model. So the waterfall model has its stages. So first is the design. In this stage, this involves the detailed definition of the outputs, inputs, and the processing procedures, including data structures and databases. Then the next one is the coding. So in this phase, the design is translated into a code. Coding involves quality assurance activities such as inspection, unit test, and integration test. Then the system test. The main goal of testing is to uncover as many software errors as possible so as to achieve an acceptable level of software quality once corrections have been completed. Installation and conversion, on the other hand, system is installed to serve as firmware. That is part of the information system that represents a major component of the expanded system. So, if the new information system is to replace an existing system, a software conversion process has to be initiated to make sure that the organization's activities continue uninterrupted during the conversion phase. Lastly is the regular operation and maintenance. So regular software operation begins once installation and conversion have been completed. The next software development model is the prototyping model. So the prototyping model is based on replacement of one or more SDLC model phases by an evolutionary process. So it is where prototypes are used for communication between the developer and the users or customers. There are advantages and disadvantages of prototyping. First is First advantage is it's a shorter development process than substantial savings of development resources, and it is better fit to customer requirements and reduce risk of project failure. And also it is easier and faster user comprehension of the new system. While its disadvantage includes it diminishes flexibility and adaptability to changes and addition, and it also reduces preparation for unexpected instances of failures. Then the third development model is spiral model. The spiral model provides a methodology for ensuring effective performance at each of the SDLC model phases. So it involves an iterative process that integrates customer comments and change requirements, risk analysis and resolution, and also the software system planning and engineering activities. Last development model is the object-oriented models. It incorporates large it incorporates large-scale reuse of software by integrating reusable models into new software systems. Then there is three aspects of quality assurance for software products, namely verification, validation, and qualification. So in verification, it is the process of evaluating a system or component to determine whether the products of a given development phase satisfy the conditions imposed at the start of the phase. Then for validation, this is the process of evaluating a system or component during or at the end of the development process to determine whether it satisfies specified requirements. Then for qualification, is the process used to determine whether a system or component is suitable for operational use. Verification looks at the consistency of the products being developed with products or being in the previous phases. So developers verifies as then the validation is a customer's thing. So customers validate the outputs. So they validate against the original requirements and it is necessary for customer satisfaction. While for qualification, it focuses on operational aspects. So maintenance is the main issue. Has development taken place, IAW professional standards and procedures that follow on maintenance is easier to undertake? And lastly is the model for SK defect removal effectiveness. The model deals with two quantitative aspects of an SK plan consisting of several defect detection activities. So first is the plan total effectiveness in removing project defects, and the second one is the total cost of removal of project defects. So for defect removal effectiveness, it is assumed that any quality assurance activity filters a certain percentage of existing defects. It should not it should be noted that in most cases, the percentage of removed defects is somewhat lower than the percentage of detected defects as some corrections. So the remaining defects, or those undetected and uncorrected, are passed to successive development phase. Then total cost is, or the cost of defect removal is a data collected about development project costs show that the cost of removal of detected defects varies by development phase. So while costs rise substantially as the development process proceeds, so for example, removal of a design defect detected in the design phase may require an investment of 2.5 working days. Removal of the same defects may require 40 days during the acceptance test. So that is all. Thank you.